Hello, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are with us, joining us today. Thank you for coming to the second episode of Salesforce Bookshelf. We are in the throes of getting this new project kicked off for everybody in the ecosystem. If you've been following us on LinkedIn, we also have a Twitter handle at Salesforce Books. And we're going to be welcoming authors, prominent Salesforce authors who have developed some books or written some books and shared their insights about delivery and roles in the Salesforce ecosystem. And we want to make sure that we help amplify those messages so that every trailblazer out there can get the best outcome for their journey. So today we are going to be welcoming Srini Mungavalasa. I hope I got it right. I've been practicing.
That,
Um, Pretty close.
yep.
The Vice President and Salesforce Center of Excellence leader at MUFG Americas. I think that's how we say that, unless that stands for something, Srini. But welcome. I'm going to let Chelyn, my co-host, briefly introduce herself. Then we're going to ask you to introduce yourself, Srini, and we'll get started.
Perfect. Well, I'm Chelyn, and it's so much fun to have episode 2 underway. And this is going to be a really interesting conversation. And it's fantastic to have an author that has 2 books to feature today.
Awesome. And Srini, yourself, please.
Also, yeah, thank you. My name is Srini Mungavalasa. I have over 20 years of IT experience, and in the past 16 years, I've been working mostly on the Salesforce and related platforms. Right. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. So, I want to start today with a bit of your career journey and insights in the book here in segment one. And so, can you give us an overview of that career, 20 years in the ecosystem, and how you became an expert in automation and business analysis?
Yep, sure, Joseph. So yeah, as I told you, I have exactly 22 years of IT experience. Right, I started my career as a developer in technical SAP ABAP. Okay, so I'm a hardcore developer in SAP long time ago, 22 years ago. So I worked for PwC, IBM consulting companies. I started my career with that. And then gradually I migrated from, technical to techno-functional to, functional to business analysis, project management, multiple hats, right? As you grow, you need to wear multiple hats, right? And I moved into Salesforce, right? I started as HR and CRM developer in SAP. Then I moved into, SAP CRM. That time it was, a little bit clunky in SAP. It's very difficult. And then we moved into SAP. We are one of the first implementers, as I say, at CA Technologies, where before 16 years ago. We are one of the first implementers, major implementers. We implemented almost 10,000 licenses for customers, 15,000 partner licenses. It's a very, very complex implementation. And we don't have much of help outside. It's kind of, we learn, we failed many times. I faced some projects, we failed miserably, right? Really miserable. And then we learned a lot from that. The whole team learned a lot and we bounced back, right? And it's kind of, it's good sometimes, you fail, you bounce back, you learn a lot from that rather than everything successful. It's kind of, we don't really learn anything because then you're doing what you know, right?
Sometimes you learn more from your failures than you do from your accomplishments. So,
So
yeah.
yeah, there I used to I wrote a lot of paper. I liked writing though. I used to write white papers for at PwC, and then I started writing some articles in professional journals in SAP. Right, I did 10 plus articles there, and there is a big break because of work, busyness, and family, right, kids and all. So it's kind of for a long time I didn't get a chance to write anything outside. I did some blogs, but not really. I wanted to write a book for a long time and kind of, I have this an idea. The business analysis, I like that area very much, right? So it's my goal is right user adoption. I want people to use the system. That's my goal, right? I want people to use the system if we have it. So for that, you need to enable their needs, requirements, whatever you call, right? You need to implement in such a way that the UI UX really chimes with them so that they use it a lot, right? And then I want to put it in somewhere. I'm looking for something. I couldn't find a really. I mean, there are a lot of business analysis books, more in line with Bebop and all, but not really, Salesforce flavor kind of thing. And really end to end, though, it's more than a business analysis book, I would say. It includes even project. It covers all phases of the project and how a business analyst. Everybody wears business analyst hat, though. I'm not saying doesn't need to be a role. It's more like, you need to have it, right? Everybody need to understand the requirements. When I say requirements, right, people think, okay, user asks something, you give something. Not that. You need to understand their pain points, right? That's more important. What are the opportunities? How you can improve, right? It can be in Salesforce, out of the Salesforce, Apex in packages. Multiple things are there, right? Really add some value, right, into that. So then I thought, okay, let me, just pitch in to Pact. Fortunately, Pact is a very good company. I just put a proposal within 24 hours, they accepted it, right? And funny thing is, luckily it went into my spam. I didn't even see that. And somebody pinged me through LinkedIn. It's good I'm on social media. And, oh, you don't want to write for us? Oh, no. I didn't see anything. Then it's then I signed a contract, and then that's it. I'm able to write a book, publish a book.
Cool.
That's really just a significant accomplishment. So many of us talk about writing a book, are excited about doing it, but taking it from that idea to write it to actually publishing, and now you've published 2 so far. Is there anything that surprised you about the journey of becoming an author?
Surprise in the sense, see, the thing is, right, one, I want to write a book, right? So it's like, it's at some point, right? It's kind of on my bucket list, I would say, right? At least one book I want to write, okay? And then, this business analysis, it's not that, I wrote some theoretical stuff in there. It's my 22 years of experience, right? It's my perspective of how, you wear the business analyst hat, right? It may change, though. It's not, right? It's not what I use on one project doesn't work on another project. Each project is different, right? Like human, the DNA is totally different, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's I wanted to write that one. Yeah, it is not easy, though, right? I have the thoughts, I know end to end everything, but the way to write it so that people can understand it, that's more important, right? They need to understand, get some value out of that one. And I need to find really good examples too, that easily understood, right? And I want this book, right, not like multiple versions kind of thing. I made it so generic, the example, that it can be used, now or after 10 years kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work, though. Sometimes I feel, right, I have a job too. It's kind of, it's hectic, right? It's a lot of, so I had to work like, Saturdays, Sundays, just before the due date, you work all night kind of thing, right? So you had to deliver. But again, it's really good, though, because putting my thoughts on a paper and then rewriting it 100 times, and then, ultimately, the reviewers liking it, that's more important, right? The reviewers said yes, no kind of thing, the ratings they give. And Pact is fantastic. I mean, if Pact or, people say independently you can publish, do that. It's you need to do a lot of stuff. You can do that, but, if you don't have a job, right, after, if you think you focus only on this, maybe you can do that. But going through, Pact is a very good, experience. Those guys are fantastic. They help you out all the time. They push you to. They're aggressive sometimes. I'm not saying they're nice. Right? They have their deliverables too, right?
Yeah.
They put me on my toes. They made me work weekends, late nights.
You volunteered to work weekends. A question that I'd have then is um, as you've tied the two books together between business analysis and business process automation, what are some of the common challenges that you think businesses face when automating processes with flows, and how do they overcome them? What's your thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, automation, right? The thing is, business process is one thing, right? Business automation is again a subset of the business process kind of thing, right? You have a requirement, certain requirements. Yeah, certainly, people need to do something on the UI, right? Some things which are repetitive, or some things which can be done, without the users intervention, that can be automated too, right? So automation plays a very big role, right? In future with AI and all, that's what we see, right? Automation is not just flows, right? Flows is one of the tools that Salesforce provided. We used to have workflows, we have other things. In addition to that, right, if you look at the automation, when I say automation, multiple list values, right, dependencies, that's automation, right? You have a formula fields, that's automation. You use Apex Sync packages, that's automation, right? A good example, right, before I get into flows, let me give a non-flow related example, right? Our business, right, any business, data is the most crucial thing, right? With AI, LLM coming into place, that's even more important, right? Without data, nothing works properly. And who wants the data? People say it's a business analyst, or it's a business, it's somebody. Everybody says that it's somebody else, right? It's not. Everybody owns the data, right? Everybody needs to take ownership. The business may need to make sure that they have accurate data. The IT team need to make sure that they maintain the data accurately. That's more important, right? By adding validation rules, whatnot. Validation rule is kind of automation too, right? You are saying the user, yeah, you're doing something wrong, right? So this data, when we are exploring, right, people are saying that, oh, we can keep it clean by putting Apex code, we can do that, we have a good developers and all. But then we explored, we brainstormed, we found out that by using a third-party package like DNB, which is totally integrated into Salesforce, you can get a very clean account data with almost 150 different attributes on the account and very good contact data. Yes, it's a paid license, but again, our business, that's very important. Without the account, proper accounts, you cannot really run the deal, the pipelines, right? You cannot have proper campaigns, right? So that is a way of automating too, right? And then with flows, yeah, you can do a lot of things, right? You can automate things in the back end, and then you have the orchestration, right? Orchestration is another big thing. It's coming. I mean, they're going to it going to like grow bigger and bigger, right? Yeah, you can use flows, right, for small things like, yeah, you generate something or you update something behind the scenes on the account or contact or call memo or campaign object. In addition to that, right, orchestration will help you sequence things in order, right? You have stages, within stages you have steps, right? And then you have decision elements, you have assignments and all. You have more control of what you are doing, right? Why I'm saying is, right, you have business analysis, you have the requirement, you put it in a process flow. I'm not saying this flow Salesforce flow, it's a business process flow, which is the as is and the to be diagrams, right? Once you
Right.
clearly, everybody understands that flow. You draw it on a paper, draw it on a visual, it doesn't matter. Once you have the conceptual flow, take it, put it in Salesforce as flows or orchestration. Exact same steps you can replicate there so that the developer understands, the testing team understands, the business understands what you're doing there, right? So yes, first one is understanding, right? Business analysis is very important. Then it needs understanding, means it's kind of, you need to understand the process too, the business processes. Then only you can implement the business needs and requirements. And then you need to automate certain things. And automation, you shouldn't do in one phase though. If you have a multi-release, first, the most important is not automation, the functionality. If business wants something, give them functionality. Even they had to do manually, that's fine. Let them do it. You are giving some tool to do them their business, right? Once you have that, the second part is gradually in the next roadmap, in the future releases, part of it, put 30% time for automating stuff. right? Gradually get feedback based on that enhanced automation. Sometimes only like out of 1,000 people, only 10 people use the automation. Do you really need it? I would say no.
Yeah. I don't want to, I appreciate your time today. And I know we're cognizant of the amount of time we have with you. And I'm going to call an audible and go down a rabbit hole on there because you brought up something very important, right? The cost benefit analysis
Yep.
of why should we do it. Just because something can be built in Salesforce doesn't necessarily mean it should be built in Salesforce. Are you automating a process for something that happens 8 times a year? And what's the level of investment? And write that ROI, right?
Yep.
What's the ROI on the business process versus what's involved? And that's key in understanding what should be automated, understanding what the business analyst does, and ultimately how you invest in the valuable aspects of the platform. I want to turn it over to Chelyn. I think she's going to take us into some questions there about the BA handbook and whatnot, but that dovetails into that next segment.
Yep, sounds good.
And really, as things get even more complex with AI entering the mix, and so complexity of some of these, you have some great advice about how to tackle shareholder engagement and really engaging with them, ensuring their buyout through the process. Can you share some of your best practices and perhaps anything that you notice that people do that are not helping them, and approaches that are the most successful?
Yeah, the way, right, there are like multiple approaches, right? When I first started in IT, it doesn't matter, say any platform, right? As a business analyst, right, when you are gathering requirements, right, as a team, not just one person, right, you need to have the right set of stakeholders. You need to be system agnostic, right? You shouldn't be thinking of, I'm going to do only this way, right? You can use third-party tools, you can use other system, you can use integrations and all, right? So in the past, when I'm like junior person, I mean, long time ago, right? We used to get requirements. We used to just think, oh yeah, I can implement it. You implement it, you test it, and then you deploy it. And then when you show it to the business, and then this, I never asked you this. Why did you do that? It's a requirement. But again, I gave you 3 requirements. The third one and second one are more important than the first one. Why did you do? But you gave it in this order, right? And then it's kind of we had to rework. So the best practice is what I found is, right, having a prototyping something, right? If somebody needs something, right, even if it's an existing system, you're doing enhancement, or if it's a totally new one, of course you need to have that, right? And have a conference room pilot, right? For all big projects, we have at least 3 conference room pilot with different phases of the project, right during the planning, right during the solution design phase, and end of the build, right? So that all the testing team members, everybody, training team, everybody understand. When we do that in the conference room pilot, you have a typing, or you can wireframe it. You don't need to really create in the system in the beginning, right? In the first during planning, you cannot really build something. You wireframe it. It doesn't take long, right? You can just draw it on a whiteboard, right? With the stakeholders, with the right side of the people, inviting the right side of the people, that's more important. The second one is having these sessions and collectively doing that wireframing or prototyping session, right? Just mocking them up and showing during each release, you get really valuable feedback and they guide you in the right direction. If something is wrong, they tell you, no, this is not what we want. Then you can rework and wireframe a new requirement or new change in requirement immediately. Then once the initial, right, the raw form is agreed, you keep adding value to that. Again, show it to them, right? Even if it's a small thing, right? If it's a small project, you don't need to have a meeting. Mock it up, have a call through WebEx for half an hour, have it, show it to them on the screen, right? So that it's not a surprise at the end. And during conference room pilot, multiple, right? You invite stakeholders at different levels. You don't need everybody for all conference room pilot. But the last one, you need to have all the stakeholders, the sponsor, including training team members, the UAT members, everybody in there, and have a holistic walkthrough from end to end. Take the process flow, take the prototype or mock-up screen, and walk them through the whole thing. That way everybody understands, and the UAT team, the QA team can do a very good job in testing it properly. The training team can do a better training, right? So that's another thing, the conference room pilot, that's very, very important. And the third thing is, right, once you deliver the system, everything is good. You need to have proper training material, though. When I say you need to fine tune the training in such a way. It's not like, blabbering for 1 hour, telling everything. Nobody listens to that. You have to do that. Of course, you need to have webinars and all these things. In addition to that, you need to have cheat sheets, right? Say account management is there. Have 1 or 2 pages of account management, 1 or 2 pages of contact management, 1 or 2 pages of opportunity management. Publish it everywhere. If somebody wants to do that, they can go through that. At least they can create 80% of your pain is gone. Right? The 20% edge case, yeah, they can create a case, you can help them out, right? So that's another thing. And having a user forms every 2 weeks or every monthly with different business units, right? For half an hour, showing them a feature each time, right? This time I show account management, next time opportunity management, next time contact management, campaign management, right? And then ask their pain points. It's more like a collaborative open session. They can vet out whatever they want, right? They can curse you, do whatever they want, but you want to keep that, right? Then this point, I have this pain, and other users are there. Another user may chime in. A lot of times others, oh no, I don't have a problem. Why do you have it? They themselves will solve the problem many times, right? You're creating a platform, not you talking. You're letting people to talk. You have the form, right? And take the pain points in the next session, address those pain points, right?
That's great.
Some of the things I think will add a lot of value, though, to any implementation.
That's great. That's great advice. Great advice. Like the office hours, you call it user forum. I call it office hours.
Brown bag sessions.
It's
right?
It's a mechanism used throughout the platform, and Salesforce does office hours. They take feedback. They have idea exchange, right? Like the more you open up, the more transparency you have through ideation and the origin of the product through implementation and adoption.
Yep.
The whole buy-in or success of the project is just amplified, because ultimately I think it comes back down to what I'll say are just basically the social behaviors of a person's work life, right?
Yep.
They want to feel counted, valued, heard. And if they're coming to you with a problem and they think they've explained something to you and you haven't addressed it, then they begin to disengage. But if you're providing them the opportunity to give that feedback, you're creating the channel or the environment where they can communicate, and that bridge with one another, even internally with other users, that ultimately maximizes user adoption and really becomes an effective training method in an implementation. So thank you for taking us there.
Yep. Thank you.
One of the things I appreciate so much about books is it's an opportunity to have a mentor that you may or may not have the opportunity to ever meet. And that in this case, you're getting over 20 years of experience, and your book is written in a way, it's just very practical. And that is such a great opportunity that you have that, what you would wish to have that one-on-one advice and being able to, take individual situations. That mentoring is so key. Can you tell us perhaps a little bit about a mentor that you've had in your career that stood out, made a difference for you?
Yep. Yes, certainly. There are a lot of people, right? So when I started long time ago, my first implementation, right? I have a boss there. He's a partner at PwC. And I used to be code really well, and then he used to dump a lot of work on me. I mean, he wants to raise the bar, right? In consulting, it's always raising the bar, right? Means you don't get enough sleep. Right? So the thing with him is, So that time I like implemented, wrote a very complex report, which is a HR payroll comparison report. And then he liked it so much that he said that I want a white paper on this one and I want to publish in PwC implementation can use it. Right. And it's kind of, I want it should be at least 20 pages and I want it by Monday morning. He told me on Friday. Right. It's kind of, I'm really mad at every day we are working for hours and he wanted me to do that. And then it's kind of, I had to write it, then he reviewed it, he published it. After that, the next 3 to 4 years, I got at least 10 calls from at least 30 implementations. They used it, right? It took 6 months for us to design it. And we have the code base and all, right? White paper, all the details, how to implement it. So they don't even need to think. It's a proven thing that we did and they used it. And basically, he's the person, though. I mean, even the meetings, when I talk or do anything, he comes and says that, what are you doing here? Why are you doing? That's not the way you do it. It's one-on-one coaching. He is very, very straight. And then I had to do that. Similarly, another person, my tech lead is there. The same thing, the person also, I used to agree to everything, say yes to everything. Then he said, no. Why are you doing that? You need to be very assertive. Why are you just, speaking out loud? Oh, no, all big people. That's okay, right? You are talking about subject. You're not talking about people. Talk loud, be assertive, right? It's kind of, they're not really. I have some coaches, though, they assign coaches. More than these coaches, right? Coaches is more like performance-based kind of thing. These coaches are very strict. They're really good in their area and they give like 2 minutes advice. If you really follow that, that will help you. That one white paper turned into almost 7, 8 white papers, right? I went to a different company and there my boss, right, boss's boss told me that, I mean, you're good at, how you train, how you discuss in the solution design sessions and you implemented the whole thing. Why don't you write something, right? Kind of thing. I have in mind too, why don't I put it in there, right? This implementation is a tough one. We face a lot of pain points. Why don't I put it there? And then similarly, though, when I put a proposal with SAP Professional Journal that time, they immediately accepted. And Jen just started with one. And then it's like it snowballed into like 11 of them, actually. Oh, wow. And that's amazing. I mean, they used to pay a lot of money for 20-page, 15-page papers. That time, 10 years ago, it's almost $2,000 they used to pay. It's fantastic, actually, just for a few people. Yeah. And it is fantastic. The experience is very good. And these people, right, I mean, it's not one person. I would say around 6 to 7 people are there. They really, really helped me grow, right? But giving me the right, rudely. It's not like not a, nice way kind of thing. Sometimes my boss is next time it happens, it won't be this conversation. It'll be different, right? And I feel bad bosses too. Like a couple of them are really, really bad. It's very tough to work. You need to stick there, prove it out. I mean, they won't stay long. We know that, right? But again, they taught me different things too, right? How not to be. That's more important. I always tell people it's not how to do, how not to do is more important, right? So yeah, there are a lot of people. And again, my family, my wife, she supports me a lot. And then he pushes me to, like, if I commit to something, or when I said I have a passion for the book, she says that, oh, why don't you just write it? Oh, you can find time. That's fine. It's kind of, and she reviews stuff too. It's not like, she's also working in IT. I mean, in a different area. But again, if I have some questions, I say, can you read through that and provide some suggestions? And it takes time to, just go through and encourage me.
All right. Chelyn, was there anything else on our radar for today?
Well, would you have any last advice for anyone wanting to stand out in their careers, and certainly in the space that you've written your books on? Just, with anyone thinking in terms of, investing and reading books and really getting that mentorship in person or through books, what other advice would you have for somebody to really stand out in this marketplace and get opportunities for themselves in this Salesforce arena?
Yeah, that's a tough question, but let me try to answer it. Okay, in this, the market is bad, right? Again, it's always ups and downs, right? It's 2 years down, 4 years up, it goes up and down kind of thing, right? So the one thing is don't lose hope, right? Keep trying. And it means not losing hope means not doing anything. It doesn't mean that, right? Do something, right? You have trailhead. I'm not saying you need to buy books all the time to get something. You have libraries. Register. All these books are in the libraries available there, right? For people who doesn't want to, who are looking for a job, just get in there, right? Or you can, you can get a membership at Pact or something. It's only $10. You can read as many books as you want. If you are free, if you're looking for a job, you have a trailhead, right? And then you have this platform, right? Your platform is there. People can listen, participate, ask questions, right? You need to keep upgrading the skills though. Try to learn as much as possible. Try to implement. Get your hands dirty, right? If you had to get into the system, if you want to learn Apex, don't say that I'm a BA, I don't want to code. Just if you have time, do it, right? And try to volunteer though. I mean, that's very important. Whether you're on the job, right? If I'm in a job, you're a junior developer or a junior BA, right? Rather than wait something for somebody to give you, you need to volunteer, right? Sometimes that job may not be nice, right? Somebody will ask you to help with SIT or UAT, coordinated. I love it actually. That's the way. When I wrote the book, right, I jump in. When UAT somebody asks more work, I jump in because that way you learn the process in that phase. And everybody should, right, at least, stay in a specific role, not a role. If you are a business analyst or a developer, right, there is something to do with UAT too. You need to understand, right? At least, like work on that role, right? Part time in UAT,
Yeah.
volunteer it, do it for some time. Training, try to do that, right? Try to do all phases of the project so that you build in the skills, right? When you have interviews and all, it's easy really, at the pain points of the UA person. Unless you go do the QA, you don't know the pain point. You think, oh, what are they doing? They run some scripts. No, it is really tough because I did it, right? I can strongly say that. Even though it's not my role, I volunteered, I did that one. Same thing, UAT. Business user, we think, oh, what is there? We give steps, they can log in. Many times they cannot log in, they get frustrated. When they gave me the scripts, right to do that, IP restriction, how do they know? SSO issue, MFA issue, right? Lightning console view, you need to go to specific view. You click on dots. What dots? You know what I'm saying? So if you are in that shoes, you really understand. So what I would say is volunteer for stuff, try to expand your knowledge, right, around, different roles, right? And keep trying though. Don't lose hope. The market is bad, right? Earlier days, you may get a job in 2 months. It may take 6 months, but keep trying. Salesforce is a good platform. And again, don't Salesforce though. If you have, like if you need to work on Informatica or if you work on Slack, other, peripheral applications, CRM applications, right? Try to understand all those things. That way, when you get a chance, when you get an opportunity, right, you are totally prepared.
Well, thank you very much, Srini. I appreciated hearing that at the end too, and the inside joke about click the three dots. I'm in this later. All right, but we do appreciate your time today. I know you fit us in with some other client responsibilities, so thank you for taking the time. We very much enjoyed having you. We've had the QR code for Srini's books up on the screen. Hopefully, you had the time to scan that. We will include the links to his books when we publish the podcast newsletter. So please subscribe to the newsletter. You can find that on LinkedIn through myself and through Chelyn. Navigate there, subscribe, get the summaries and links and other items. Again, thank you. We'll be publishing the key takeaways from the episode in a newsletter shortly. And I want to encourage you all, the next episode is already planned for 2 weeks from today on June 19th. You'll have the opportunity to join us as we talk to Heather Black around becoming a super Salesforce consultant. And so thank you, everybody around the world. Good evening or good afternoon, as the case may be. Have a great day. Enjoy your evening. And we'll see you on episode 3 in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.